here in the wet gardens, we've had colder weather in the last couple of weeks, but when we were having regular rain, these basins were full of water. They had about 2 inches, 3 inches of water. And what I did is I scraped down to make them level, make them as level as possible. And by making the basins as level as possible, I increased the amount of surface area available for evaporation. Now you can see the water's down pretty much to muck. And I also added a little bit of fertilizer. I added these little drainage ditches, these overflows to drain, and Virginia native rice. So since these things are holding a little water and are kind of slow to drain, I figure I'll go ahead and grow rice in them or grow some water tolerant vegetables like I did down the end. Down the end we have taro and some flowers, and so here will be rice. And basically these wet basins that will fill up during rain season will actually have something growing in them, make them a little more interesting. But you can see I scraped the bottom, which gave me a silt after taking out the areas that had a lot of grass in them. I readjusted some of the buns. So I took some of the soil and put it on some of the buns around it. And then of course on the back side here, tuned up this walkway. But this is an interesting microclimate in the fact that we're reflecting the sun on a southern facing slope. And of course we're giving it a way to bleed off the water, because we're not holding water here. We don't want to hold water. We simply want to spread it out and soak it in or evaporate it. Now I don't see the rice grains in it, but by silting up the water, the rice grains will tend to get stuck in the mud as the water goes down. And we do have areas where there's still a little bit of water, because I didn't really get in and scrape it. Oh, I see some rice there. I didn't really scrape it completely smooth. It doesn't have to be completely smooth. Here again, we leveled out some more and mounded up some of the muck and the mud around the center beds there where the flowers are going to come. There's some irises in there, a couple different types of reeds, and some aquatic plants. And then of course on the other side is our taro, which hopefully the taro sustains the cold weather, but we'll see. Might put some straw in there. But again, this area, it's not wet anymore. It's just a little muddy. I'm not going to get down there and walk in it. But these basins basically catch water off this watershed, catch the rainwater, and then slowly step it down and then leak it off this corner. So we actually have a little overflow corner to take that water slowly down the hill, so we don't have that big eroded mess that we had before. And then of course, this gives me 3 grow beds, and each has only got about 1 inch or 2 of water in it. So with very little water, we have good evaporation, and it will soak in and otherwise go away. Now these slopes here are a little stiff, so we let the grass grow on it and hand cut it, but I still wanted a little access between the garage and this hill. But by spreading and soaking out this water, we're preventing a common problem that happens with sloped soils, and that is washouts. So that edge, while it's a 1-to-1 slope, it likely will not wash out, because we're spreading the water out, moving it towards the back of the hill, soaking it in the ground, and then in the growing season, it's actually getting sucked up by plants. So we'll have 2 growing areas here, and of course we're going to put grass. We're going to put kind of rice as a grass. And I don't expect to have enough rice to harvest or anything, but basically This is a Virginia native rice. It's perennial. It has a deep root. And so I can come in here each season, harvest the seed I get, re-level out the area, and then basically, eventually they'll fill up full of soil and we can just plant vegetables in here. But again, we've got an example here. This could be called a chinampa system. It doesn't hold water all the time. It's actually dry now. It rained. We had ice on it the last couple of days, and it rained a lot earlier in the week. And you can see it's dry now. Now, the more mature this gets, the less likely it's going to hold a large amount of water. So it'll basically fill up during the rain to kind of buffer the flow of water, and then it will soak in or get absorbed by plants. And so I can play with some sorghums. In this case, I'm playing with a Virginia native rice.